The rainforest here rises in layers, and each layer holds a hunter, from the black water at its roots to the open sky above its crown. Before dawn, the flooded savanna of Los Llanos holds still, its water stained the color of strong tea. A capybara herd feeds at the margin. This looks like one country with one hunter at the top. It is not. From the riverbed to the emergent trees 60 meters overhead, the forest answers to a different predator on every level. A jaguar reads the bank. A harpy eagle watches from a bare branch far above. And beneath the herd, under the stained water, something moves that none of them can see. The question is how one forest carries them all, and why none erases the rest. Under the flooded savanna, the light gives out within the first meter. Down here, the water holds the color of steeped tea, and the world narrows to a corridor of stained green and silt. This is the bed of the Llanos, the drowned floor of Colombia's eastern plains, where the wet season spreads the rivers across the grassland until land and water lose their border. A game trail runs along the channel bottom, worn by animals that come to drink. Nothing about it looks dangerous. That is the point. The shape resting on the silt could pass for a waterlogged log. It is the heaviest snake on earth, a green anaconda, thick as a human thigh and longer than the channel is wide. She lies without moving, coils folded along the bottom, only her eyes and nostrils lifted toward the surface. She does not chase. She does not need to. Down here, the measure of power is how completely a body can disappear. Speed and size on land count for little. A hunter this large should be easy to see. She is not, and that is the whole of her advantage. At the water's edge, the land answers. A herd of capybara moves down to drink, the largest rodents in the world, barrel-bodied and calm. They live by the water because everything they eat grows there. They also die by it. Every drink is a negotiation with a surface they cannot see through. A capybara can dive and hold itself under to escape a predator, staying down until the threat above has passed. Here, that instinct is turned against them, because the danger is not on the bank but already below, waiting on the trail they are about to follow into the shallows. The herd edges in to drink, and the trail they follow runs directly over the ground a hunter would choose. This is how an ambush on the channel bottom works. It is not a chase, but a location. A single stretch of trail that a drinking animal has no way to read. When a strike comes on ground like this, it does not look like a strike. It looks like the channel itself convulsing. Coils rise, the surface breaks white, and the water is thrown into motion and then closes again. No pursuit crosses the open plain. The whole hunt is compressed into one length of trail and the single moment it is used. A green anaconda is a constrictor. It does not kill with venom or crushed bone. It takes hold and it holds, tightening by degrees and waiting out the breathing of whatever it has caught. Then the water goes still. The herd regroups on the bank within minutes. The grass still grows at the margin. The trail is still there. Nothing on land records what the water took, but the layer that hides her also binds her to one rule. She breathes air. However motionless she holds along the bottom, in time she must bring her head to the surface, and for that held moment, the animal that rules by being unseen is fully exposed. A broad, dark head breaking the tea-colored water in open daylight, in view of everything the layers above her contain. It is the one time the column can reach down and touch her. She is not the only hunter working this water. Through the same shallows, a family of giant otters hunts by day, social and quick and loud, moving in the open light where the anaconda hides. They are the counterpoint to her silence. A hunter that succeeds by being coordinated and seen, where she succeeds by being still and unseen. Two methods, one layer. The water rewards the vanishing body and the racing one alike, and asks the opposite of each. The anaconda takes her air and begins to settle. The meal will take days to pass, and until it does, she will barely move. She sinks back along the bottom, coils folding into the silt, her outlines softening into the murk, until the shape on the channel floor is a log again, or a shadow, or nothing at all. A body has vanished where nothing can follow it. The trail resets. The next herd that comes down to drink will read the same harmless water. The prey came off the bank. Every death on this trail begins a step higher, where the animals of the land come down to meet the water and misjudge the line between them. That line, the seam where the channel gives way to open sand and sunlight, belongs to no single hunter. Above the anaconda's dark bed, the river breaks into bright sandbars, and on the sand, two hunters are already awake, and neither will share. Where the flooded plain drains toward its main channel, the water clears, and the river breaks into long, bright sandbars. This is the Orinoco, the great artery of Colombia's east, and in the dry months, it draws back off the flats to expose banks of pale sand and cracked mud. The seam it leaves behind is the most contested ground in the whole forest. It is neither water nor land, but the narrow border between them, the line every drinking animal has to cross and every hunter has learned to keep. Two of the largest predators in the Americas claim this one strip of edge, and neither gives ground. The first is already moving. A jaguar walks the sandbar in the low light, unhurried, heavy through the shoulders, its coat a field of rosettes that scatters against the mottled ground. It is the largest cat in the Americas and one of the most amphibious of all cats, an apex predator that hunts the water's edge by choice. Where many cats will not touch deep water, this one wades and swims, taking turtles and young reptiles from the shallows as readily as prey on the bank. The edge is not a barrier to it. The edge is its hunting ground. Out on the river, something has been reading the same bank. A ridge of scaled bone breaks the surface and holds there, two eyes set just above it, angled toward the sand. The eyes belong to an Orinoco crocodile, one of the Neotropics' great crocodilians and one of the rarest. It lies almost wholly submerged, holding its station in the current with nothing showing but the line of its skull. It is reading the same bank the cat is reading. The seam has two claimants, one on the sand and one in the water, and the ground between them is about to be used. Down the bank comes the reason both of them wait. A herd of capybara files toward the mud to drink, unhurried, exactly as they were at the anaconda's channel, because the water is the only place to drink and no version of the day avoids it. They read the sand. They do not read what is under it. The jaguar hunts the way it hunts everywhere, not by running its prey down, but by closing the distance unseen and ending the contest in a single rush. It flattens, then flows down the bank, crossing the open ground before a drinking animal can turn for deep water. On the sand, one burst is enough. But the cat is not the only claimant here, and the river holds the advantage. When an Orinoco crocodile hauls its bulk onto the bar, the arithmetic of the seam changes entirely. This is not prey a cat can overpower. It is armored along every surface a jaw could find, and a large adult can outweigh the cat several times over. In the water and at its edge, the reptile answers to nothing. So the cat does not contest the river. A jaguar with a kill on open sand does the one thing that keeps both its prize and its skin. It takes hold of the weight and drags it up off the exposed flat, away from the water and into the shadow of the tree line, onto ground the crocodile cannot follow. It holds the seam by leaving it. Here, dominance is not measured by who wins the water. It is measured by who can afford to walk away from it. The withdrawal looks like caution, and it is. But the contest is more lopsided than the sandbar shows. The jaguar is still found across much of the continent. The Orinoco crocodile is not. Hunted for its hide through most of the last century, it is listed now as critically endangered. Its range collapsed until it survives almost entirely within this one river basin. The armored claimant of the seam has very nearly vanished from it. The rivalry on the bar is between an abundant cat and a giant that is running out of river. The sandbar keeps its stalemate. But this is only one border in a much larger country, and the rivers of the east are only its beginning. Away to the south and west, past the last of the open water, the forest closes into an unbroken roof, and the floor beneath it keeps an order the open sandbar never taught. Where the rivers run beneath standing forest, the flooded plain gives way to closed rainforest. This is the floor of the Colombian Amazon. Overhead, the canopy stands on average 20 to 30 meters up, with only scattered emergent trees climbing towards 60. But even that lower roof is enough to seal the ground in shade. By day, the floor is dim. By night, it is close to absolute dark. And in that dark, low against the litter, 2 points of light catch and hold, a pair of eyes burning where no fire could be. The eyes belong to an ocelot, a small night-hunting cat patterned in rosettes that break its outline into scattered shadow. It weighs a fraction of the jaguar that owns the river's edge, and it will never contest that seam. It does not have to. At ground level, in the clutter of roots and fallen wood, size is a liability and precision is everything. The ocelot hunts by patience and by ear, setting each paw without sound, reading the litter for the small movements of a spiny rat or a ground bird settling. Its eyes gather light where almost none remains to gather. On the floor, ruling is a matter of accuracy in the dark. When it hunts, the distance is short and the finish is quiet. A single spring out of stillness, closed in the litter before the forest has registered it. Nothing carries far enough to see from a distance, and almost nothing lasts long enough to hear. The litter settles back, and the floor keeps its secret, the way the channel bottom kept the anacondas. The floor holds more than hunters. Somewhere in the same understory moves the lowland tapir, the largest land animal in South America, a barrel of muscle on short legs, with its nose drawn into a short, mobile trunk. It feeds as it walks, cropping seedlings and fallen fruit, and it carries those seeds deep into the forest before it drops them again. A planter of trees on 4 legs, slowly remaking the canopy that shades the floor it walks. No cat the size of an ocelot will attempt an animal this large. A grown tapir can outweigh 200 kilograms, and nothing on this floor short of a jaguar tries for one. Some animals here are simply beyond the reach of the layer's predators, and the tapir moves through the dark untroubled, too large to be a meal. Skill settles one contest on the forest floor, but a second contest follows, and skill has nothing to do with it. It plays out on a different floor entirely, far to the west. Beyond the Andes, on the Pacific side of the mountains, the land drops into the Choco, one of the wettest lowland rainforests on Earth, sealed off from the Amazon by the high Cordillera. And full of animals found nowhere else. Its floor looks much like the Amazon's, the same deep litter under the same green shade. But here, the oldest question between predator and prey is answered without a single chase. In daylight, in plain sight, an animal moves across the Choco litter that seems to have discarded every rule the ocelot lives by. It is a golden poison frog, one of the larger poison dart frogs, yet still barely longer than a few centimeters, colored a solid, blazing yellow that hides from nothing. Every other animal on a rainforest floor survives by not being seen. This one advertises. It makes no move to flee and no move to conceal. The color is not a flaw in its defense. The color is the defense. And the warning it carries is honest. The skin of the golden poison frog holds one of the most potent toxins known in any animal, and the frog ranks among the most poisonous animals on Earth, a single one carrying enough to kill many times its weight in would-be predators. A hunter that closes its mouth on one does not live to repeat the mistake. So the knowledge is carried by the species itself, written in a color bright enough to read across the litter. The predators that share its range have learned to leave it alone. Here, the prey governs the predator, and it never has to fight. 2 flaws, 2 answers. On the Amazon litter, the cat rules by accuracy. On the Choco litter, the frog rules by chemistry and never lifts a foot to do it. And through the Amazon dark walks a giant too heavy for any hunter the layer holds. A browser that neither rules nor is ruled. The most disputed flaw in the forest settles nothing cleanly. Its crown split between skill and poison, with a body no predator can touch walking straight through the argument. Back beneath the Amazon canopy, the dark begins to thin. Light climbs the trunks from the top down, and with it comes sound. Raw, grating calls carrying down through the leaves from a layer the floor never sees. The canopy is waking, and the crowded layer above is about to answer for everything the floor has fed. High above the floor, the forest changes character entirely. The dark, still understory gives way to a roof of sun and wind and constant movement, a layer so thick with fruit and seed that most of the animals living in it never come down at all. This is the canopy of the Colombian Amazon, the richest larder in the whole column, and at first light it does not wake quietly. It erupts. The sound comes first, a raw, tearing chorus that carries for kilometers, and then the color. Scarlet macaws, hundreds of them, pouring across the treetops in pairs and small family groups. They are among the largest parrots in the world, close to a meter from beak to the tip of the tail, and they are built to be seen and heard. Nothing about them hides. In a forest where almost every animal survives by concealment, the macaw has taken the opposite bet. Its defense is the crowd, not the single body. They gather for one reason, and it draws them to the most exposed ground a canopy bird can occupy. Along the river, a bank of bare clay has been cut into the forest wall, and the macaws need it. The seeds and unripe fruit they feed on carry bitter compounds, and the mineral clay helps their bodies handle that diet, supplying salts the treetops cannot. But to reach it, they must leave the crowns and cling to an open cliff with nothing above them and nowhere to hide. So they do not go down alone, and they do not go down quickly. For the better part of an hour, they mass in the trees over the lick, screaming, shifting, waiting. No single bird commits. They wait until the flock itself decides, hundreds of eyes reading the river and the sky at once, and only when the collective nerve holds do the first birds drop to the clay and the rest fall after them in a sheet of red. Here, the layer is ruled by numbers. 1,000 eyes see what one cannot, and a predator that might manage a single macaw cannot take the flock. The flock's whole defense lives in that arithmetic. When danger reads from above, the response is never one bird's. The screaming does not swell, it snaps off, every head turned the same way, and then the entire bank leaves the clay at once, a sheet of red tearing off the cliff and scattering wide into the crowns. The crowd reads what the crowd was built to read. This is no rival among the branches, no cat climbing a trunk. The threat that empties a clay lick comes from the one direction the canopy cannot defend, from above. That threat has a shape. Over these same crowns moves a harpy eagle, a hunter large enough to pull a monkey from a branch, carrying none of the noise a bird its size should make. It is gone almost before a flock can place it. Against a hunter that has to single out one body and close on it, the mass becomes the defense. The macaws scatter wide, each red shape lost among 100 others, and a hunter from above finds no isolated target to commit to. The crowd breaks apart and survives by breaking apart. Minutes later, the calls rebuild across the crowns, and the flock reforms over the river as though no shadow had ever crossed. The canopy holds its lair by never letting the hunter above it find one body alone. Yet the eagle does not belong to this lair, and it does not leave the forest. It lifts higher and keeps climbing, past the highest fruiting crowns, up to where a handful of trees break clear of everything else and stand alone against the open sky. The macaws are safe because they were many. What waits above them cannot be answered by numbers, and it is not hunting only for itself. Above the closed roof of the canopy, a few trees break free of the rest. They stand higher than everything around them, emergent crowns that climb towards 60 meters and stand well above the surrounding canopy, bare-crowned and wind-scoured, and from their highest forks, the whole forest spreads out below like a second ground. In one of these crowns sits a nest the size of a small raft, built of sticks laid down year on year. A harpy-eagle pair tends a single chick in a nest like this, and that eaglet depends on the crown for many months, standing and calling into open air while everything it needs is hunted somewhere in the layers below. The hunter is a harpy eagle, built for one thing the whole column has to reckon with. A large female stands nearly a meter tall and weighs about as much as a mid-sized dog, among the most powerful eagles alive. Her rear talons run close to 13 centimeters of curved bone, as long as the claws of a grizzly bear, and her grip can carry off prey as heavy as she is. Every other hunter in this forest works a single layer. The eagle works from above and reaches down, and little in the canopy sits outside her reach. She does not soar in the open. She hunts inside the forest, weaving between trunks on broad wings, quiet for her size, reading the middle branches for the slow shape of an animal feeding or resting where it thinks it is safe. When she commits in silence. A launch, a fast pass through the leaves, talons closing on a body that never heard her arrive. It is the one hunt in the forest that answers to no boundary between layers. The sky reaches into the canopy and takes what it wants. But that reach carries a cost the other hunters never pay. The eagle above the crown draws nothing from the sky. Everything that feeds her lives beneath her, and all of it has to be there. A hunt through the middle canopy needs the canopy full of the animals that feed on the fruit that grows because the floor was planted, the floor that stays alive because the river still floods its roots. Break any layer and the top of the column starves first. Not every hunt succeeds. There are days the crown stays empty and the eaglet calls into the same air it called into before. But when a hunt does deliver, the parent returns low and heavy, drops onto the rim of the nest, and the chick feeds, tearing at what the layers below produced and the sky came down to collect. And in that dependency, the question the whole forest has been asking finally closes. No hunter here erases the rest, because no hunter here can afford to. The predator that can strike into every layer survives only as long as every layer stays full. The column is one body, not 5 separate powers stacked in a tower, and the eagle sits at the top of it, the way a head sits at the top of a spine, reaching into everything and holding none of it up alone. That is also why the top of the column is the first thing to fall. A harpy pair raises one chick, and only once every 2 or 3 years, in a tree old enough and a forest wide enough to feed the whole climb from the river up. Where the forest breaks into fragments, the reach finds nothing left to reach for, and the eagle vanishes long before the smaller layers do. It is listed now as vulnerable, thinning across a range that once ran unbroken from these crowns toward the far edge of the continent. From the emergent crown, the forest falls away in layers, crown under canopy, under understory, all the way down to where the light gives out. Far beneath it lies the same tea-dark water the column began in, the flooded floor where the thing that rules is never seen. In a few months, the eaglet will stand on the rim of the nest, open a pair of wings almost too wide to believe, and leave for the forest that made it. The same forest, top to bottom, that had to stay whole to raise it. Dawn returns to the flooded savanna where the column began. The water lies flat and stained the color of strong tea, and a capybara herd files down to the margin to drink, reading the same still surface its kind has always read. It knows only the water in front of it, not the layered forest climbing high above its back, and not how much of that climb had to stay whole to leave this one morning ordinary. Somewhere beneath the herd, out of sight, coils settle deeper into the silt. The surface closes over them, smooth and dark, holding still, and gives nothing away.